be filed. Any questions? Any questions from the public? Moving on, Diane Barris's contract. This is a independent contractors agreement with Diane Barris. She does work for the police department. You'll notice that you got a new copy today that was, everything was reviewed by our city attorney. And this is actually what was used last time we renewed her contract. And it just has some language in there about independent contractors. Discussion on this.
Mayor, where is the dollars that are expressed coming from? I assume that's under the police budget.
It's already into the police budget with this amount.
So in several places here, it mentions provide 50 hours, may not decrease or go below 50 hours. It's in here, shall provide 50 hours. How are those hours tracked?
Yes, so actually I track those hours. She does actually more than what she actually is contracted for. She's a very good employee, does a phenomenal job for me. In fact, she does such a good job that I actually had in my budget to give her a $1 an hour raise and actually increase her hours. And with discussion with the mayor, it's not in the budget to be able to do that. So she works under my direction. She does several things. Like I said, I did present a list of items that she does. It's not all inclusive, but it is an itemized list of a lot of things that she does. She gets most of the work done well in advance. And like I said, I have tracked where she has done extra time just because she wants to get it done. She's very focused and she wants to make sure that the project done correctly and properly. And on numerous occasions, she goes way over the hours and she does the bills for it because she was under contract. So the city is getting, in my opinion, a great benefit by having someone who's as professional as she is and does the job very well and fast. It would probably take me quite a bit more time than what it takes her to do all of those tasks.
It says in here, in the first one that we got, it could be negotiated up with a minimum of $700. And in the second one, it's just, the only thing that you can negotiate up is the hours. So will that come, if it is negotiated up, will she get paid for all the hours that she works?
Well, I would assume that she would get paid for all the hours that she works. I mean, she is going to.
This is only $14 an hour.
Yeah, it is $14 an hour, right?
Is that, so if you negotiate it up that she's gonna work 70 hours, then are you going to give an additional $280 or whatever that?
And if we did renegotiate it, that would come to this table also.
Correct. I have no decision making on that. It would come to the table and to the mayor. She is only, like I said, she's a contract employee that works for the police department in the city of Laurel, or city of Red Lodge. That's 21 years. So yeah, that would actually come to you guys as far as any negotiation as any contract would.
So in her track of her hours, does she submit that as like on an invoice?
She submits an invoice that those hours are done to the line, yes.
Some of the things on here, on this list that you gave us, which is really nice, thank you, we've never seen this before.
Sure.
And some of the things that are listed in reimbursement of expenses are more things that would be coming out of the city attorney's office or out of the court. So just like filing fees, court costs, subpoena costs, and then travel outside of the city of Red Lodge. I can't imagine that an administrative assistant for a contract administrative assistant for the RLPD would have travel outside of the city of Red Lodge.
There is occasion that it could happen. She has traveled outside to pick up items and documents, and we were looking at a design patch which is being designed at the Montana State Prison. She was asked to go and do that. She did not bill us mileage, and Lonnie, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know that I've ever seen mileage billed to the city from her. And she uses her own personal car, and she has not billed us yet. And then she has traveled for the city of Red Lodge numerous times. So that, I believe, is the same contract that she had signed in previous. So
Are we taking advantage of her?
I don't know that we're taking advantage. Like I said, Di is very, very good, and she like I said, for $14 an hour, she says, it almost feels like I'm donating my time. She enjoys the police officers, she enjoys the work that she's doing, and she said she wants to continue to do a service for the city of Red Lodge and for, honestly, the skills that she possesses, and the skills that she does, and the work that she does, yeah, we may be taking advantage of her at $14 an hour. But she also realizes that at $14 an hour, the city may not be able to afford it. She's willing to work for that at that rate. And truthfully, if I could afford, or if you guys would give her a raise, she well deserves a raise. So $14 an hour, we get our money out of her.
The only other concern that I had is that the contract is for 3 years and a month. And I would feel more comfortable if we okayed a contract that was for 1 year with a request to renew this, and it's called a memorandum of agreement, may be submitted by either party at least 45 calendar days prior to the expiration. And that was again came before the council for a vote. And maybe at that time, because now, I don't know that, I've never been at a meeting where Diane Barris's contract has come up.
Wells, but I was 3 years selected.
I don't know. I think she's looking for some security as far as making sure that she has employment. She has been offered jobs, numerous jobs, in fact, that pay more than what she's making now. And I've been aware of that, and those are valid offers. She's never threatened to say that she's leaving, but she has visited with me, and that there are jobs that will pay her more hours and more time, but she enjoys the officers, she enjoys her work, she enjoys almost a public service for the city. And so, like I said, we're getting a great deal, but she just needs to kind of lock that in. There are other opportunities that she has that will go long term. And so I think for her, that's why she did it. Again, this contract is between her and the city. She didn't discuss it at great lengths with me as to exactly why she chose the timeline that she did.
Mayor, do we know if there's any statutory, I know we've encountered in the past statutes that put limits on how long certain types of employment or positions can be. Have we researched and make sure
This
there's
is,
not any relevant?
it's not a city employee, so it's an independent contractor, so that contractor.
Another concern that I had was in the back here, B, it states, understandably, that the city acknowledges and understands that in order for Barris to work as an independent contractor, the city as hiring agent cannot exercise control over the manner and detail in which the work is performed. Yet we designate that she has to do it in 50 hours, and we really haven't listed on the agreement what she's doing. We're listing more court things. You say that, the travel costs, that she wouldn't do that very often or whatever. This doesn't sound like the majority of this. And some of the things in this that you gave us, of the things that she's done. Prepare evidence for county attorney, organized discovery. Is that?
Yes, and so what is done, and I can explain exactly what that is. We have a case going on right now where a individual, I have to be careful how I say this.
Pick your words carefully.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So an individual assaulted a juvenile, and it's a very extensive ongoing case. In fact, if I were to bring the binder in, you would see a binder about this thick, which is full of statements, evidence, things like that. So she has actually helped the county attorney as well as us in arranging that folder and binder in an order in which it is easily to find the evidence that we need, the statements that we need, and the skill that we got. And if I were to bring that case, actually 2 books, bring them in, you would say, well done. And so that is some of the things that she does assist us with, and I think that is what she's alluding to in her statement there.
Isn't that more of a paralegal responsibility? And I know that she is employed as a paralegal.
I don't know that it is. I think an administrative assistant to a chief of police, that would be something that she would be willing to do. It's a task that I can assign her. It's a task that she does well. And if we need assistance in that, then, like I said, I assigned her to that, and she's done it very well.
And Chief, I have a question.
Yes.
If you didn't have Ms. Barris doing this, who would?
Well, it would be spread between myself and between the officers. And currently, we are very shorthanded. Just to give you a brief update, we have well, we have a new opening, Matt Grisham has resigned, and so we will be hiring again. What a lot of people don't understand is when you hire a police officer in a police department, it's not like any other job. Any other job, you can put them to work right away. A police officer, we don't get to do that. A police officer, we are doing and implementing what's called an FTO program, meaning that that officer will sit side by side between an officer who has experience, understands the laws, and make sure that we don't get sued, pretty much. That we get to train them the way that they're supposed to be. And I think that that's very important. And then what we do is we send them to the academy. So we have 6 months of paying a full-time employee that I don't get any benefit from, other than to train them. So we have implemented a 3-year contract rather than just training officers, sending them off to get jobs elsewhere. So we're utilizing our officers that way, but right now, we're short on officers. And so by not having her do this kind of this work, ties up our time, takes officers off the streets, and is very, very time consuming. Like I said, she helps me with a lot of things that have to be done. She helps other officers with things that have to be done. She goes through the citations to make sure that they're properly done for the courts, and then make sure that everything is in order, so that nothing gets hung up in the court. So she kind of is like a checker to make sure that the officers are doing what they're supposed to be doing as far as the citations. She'll catch mistakes on the citations, get it to the officers, and get that taken care of before it ever gets to court. It really streamlines it. If she wasn't there to do it, again, would take the officers many times. We would be paying $28+ an hour on some officers to do the work that we're paying her $14 an hour to do. It is a great benefit to the city. And so it allows us to be a lot more efficient, a lot more professional, and that is what I'm trying to make our department professional, complete, something that's spoken very highly of in the state, and that is, and she's helped with that.
Just to explain the chuckling, and I'm sure she files a lot better than most of them do as well. I'm not uncomfortable with the 1099 elements. I spent a large part of my career as a 1099 employee and employing a lot of 1099s, so I understand where that, not directing the details of, co-employment and all those sort of things. You mentioned that she has some other jobs, and I think somebody mentioned that she also works as a paralegal. What safety precautions do we have, or what gates are in there to help make sure that we don't have any sort of a conflict of interest ever? So if she's working with attorneys that may or may not be bringing things, involving the county or involving the city police or involving, how do we, because I don't want to stifle her from those sort of things, but how do we protect?
So she has limited information as to what she's doing. She's mainly filing paperwork, that sort of thing. She has, like I said, filing cases. But as far as that goes, it's the same as an officer. Officers are employed outside of their scope of duty, and they have the ability to go and apply and work other places. Again, it comes into the integrity of the person. And I can tell you that the year that I have worked with her, I have not seen a person who has more integrity than her. There's been things that I know that she knows that will not speak a word at the office. And so she's done very, very well in keeping the two jobs separate. She is an independent contractor. She does have several clients, and one of them is, yes, a paralegal, I think, for an attorney here in town.
And I've never heard anything but positive about Diane either, just to clarify. So that was just as I look at the questions that people may ask us, and then we have to be able to defend, that was the one that probably stuck out in my mind.
Utmost professional. I've never, and honestly, we would have to terminate if she ever divulged any information. That is a Criminal Justice Information Act, and so if that were ever to happen, that would take into effect, and that, regardless, would nullify any contract that would come into play because of criminal justice information disclosing that.
Is it within your 1099 guidance and direction, just to provide the guidance that she makes it very clear which role she's in, what she's doing? And there's one that comes to mind that I know that there's a settlement agreement that came to the city. It just had a name on it. It didn't say what role or who it was coming from, and so that I know caused some confusion. So
Okay.
maybe just make it very clear you're acting as the role of the PD, or you're acting as a role for such and such an attorney.
Yeah, I guess you could almost compare, how many here have Verizon? Okay. So we have Verizon cell phone. It is a carrier that we contract with. Now, that maybe criminals may be using it to make drug deals. I'm using it for police work. Is there a conflict of interest? No, because we contract with it. And I think that you have to keep those separate. It is a contract that is done by a professional, but she is very professional. She does a great service for the city of Grand Lodge. And I think you have to look at it as who her customers. Now, if she was contracting with a drug dealer, that may be a conflict of interest because she does have personal information. Just so that you know, she did have to be fingerprinted and be checked with CGIN, which is our national security, and go through a security clearance, same as the officers do. They have information that she has. And if that is ever redacted, I mean, she's not.
And again, do we have examples of other cities that we know have a similar type arrangement?
There's a lot of people who have, administrative assistants. I mean, there's a lot of chiefs have administrative assistants or secretaries, determining on the terminology. A lot of them may be city employees, but if you're paying city employees, you're going to have to pay a competitive rate, you have to pay insurance, you have to pay a benefit package because of that. And because of us trying to cut the cost as much as we can and obtain quality help, she is a contracted employee, which has been able to do that for the city of Redwood.
So we get top of the line use of her without having to pay top of the line benefits and
With a
salary.
bargain price, absolutely.
My concern with that is exploiting a person in the community, for our own benefit. And I'm a real stickler about labor laws and things. The other thing that I noticed in here is throughout it, it says multiple times that John is not an employee of the city, does not have a relationship, or their relationship is not that of his employee to employer. And then the very last line, and it says it in a couple of other spots too. It says, as an independent contractor, works independently, established trade, occupation, profession, business only, da-da-da-da-da. In other ways, it's delivery of a finished product in the time frame agreed by the parties, and payment to be made as agreed by the parties. Well, I'm sorry, I need to go up one. It says, when the city exercises control over Barris, an independent contractor, an employment relationship may exist. So is that going to turn her into, if we say, you have to give us 40 or 50 hours a month, and this is what we expect from you, does that make it an employment agreement? Especially if we're gonna enter into a contract for over 3 years.
No, I first want to say, I didn't draft this contract. This is hers, and I'm trying the best I can to explain it. From my understanding, and from her, visiting with her, she does not want to be an employee of the city. She wants to remain an independent contractor with the city. It's no different than having an independent contractor doing the digging down here. They're not a city employee. They may be doing work for the city, but they are not the same. And I think that's what she's trying to establish, is that she is not the same and wants to remain an independent contractor.
And I've done that same thing in my line of work, where I very specifically, because like I said, I don't ask for vacation, I just say, I'm not available that week, and so there's all
Right.
sorts of autonomy that's helpful there.
And, I need to say that we did not dictate the hourly wage and the amount of hours. This is what she offered us, put into the contract. The changes that were made due to independent contractor status were taken off of a state template. So a lot of that's in there, under that, is off that template.
Mr. Mayor, that was things that in MOUs that the Department of Labor uses, so that it's clear that you're not establishing an employer-employee relationship.
Yeah, except for that last, or C on the back. That when the city exercises control over Barris, an independent contractor, an employment relationship may exist.
If you read that whole sentence, Mr. Mayor, it says the city as hiring agent recognizes that when the city exercises control, an employment relationship may exist. And so that's saying we realize and understand, the city understands if we overstep our bounds, then she goes from being an independent contractor to an employee. That is part of the Department of Labor's wording as well. So that's to say, and that's to make it clear to both parties in the agreement just what can happen and what her independent contractor position is.
It would be like, if we had serves under the direction of the chief, then we're overstepping our bounds.
There was a really
Then
big,
she's moving into, being an independent
there
contractor.
was a really
you know
big
what
case
that
several
is.
years ago with Microsoft, where they were guiding and directing it. It was actually a statement very similar to this. It says, hey, we've said you're a 1099 contractor, but just for the record, if you start acting like you're an employee, realize that you could be creating that situation. So So that's a cautionary, I get where your concern is. I think that's a cautionary tale, but I'm very comfortable that the chief of police understands that not to go there. Hey, I need Cascade done.
So, for instance, I don't set her hours. One day she may come in for an
That's
entire
clear.
day, one day she may come in for a couple hours. And so, you know, I don't get to set those because as a chief I would set it, but she's an independent contractor, so.
But if we're setting the hours at a minimum of 50 hours a month, are we directing her?
She is saying that she will work for us for 50 hours a month. We are not directing.
I think that the contractor has to be limits, otherwise she could work unlimited, and how would we budget for that? And so I think what we're trying to accomplish is.
Well, you don't pay her by the hour, so if she worked unlimited under her own choice,
She has to
you'd
work
still
50
pay
hours.
if she's doing the work, she should be able to work 5 hours a month and get $700. I mean, really, if what you're saying is these are the jobs that we need this administrative assistant to do, you shouldn't set it hours. She's an independent contractor.
Mr. Mayor, I can delete that out and just say she gets $700 a month, whether she works 2 hours or
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's
500
what her
hours.
invoices are like now.
The- she gets paid 700 or whatever she
So
works.
her invoices actually show how many hours she works a month.
Well, then that's new this year because they didn't prior to that.
I can't speak before my tenure, but I do know that she has been submitting bills with the hours and the wage on there. One of the things that my concern as chief, if we say doing the work and I don't keep track of your hours, how do I come to you then and say, yeah, she's putting in her time, or I should be expecting more, or, because I can't show you her work every day. I think it's a guideline for the council to say, this is what we're expecting you to come in and do, up to 50 hours, not more than, but we're going to pay this fee. And I think that it's being responsible to the citizens of Red Lodge to require that, as well as giving her the leeway to perform her work when she needs to. I think it's being
I think the
responsible.
resolution there is that she provides the hours and you provide that as informational purposes only. And I think it is key, if she turns in 42 hours, she still gets paid the amount. So I think,
That's what I'm thinking.
I think tracking hours is not an invoice bill, it's just informational use of it. And over time, if you see that it goes under or it goes over, and again, I'm comparing that to my own work as a 1099, because there's what we call a fixed fee engagement. But in this particular case, since hours are a way of tracking, I think that just, if we break the link between hours and the dollar amount, then I think it becomes informational and it's not problematic.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Exactly right.
Should we check with the state, Montana Labor and Industry, because I've had conversations with other contractors who have 1099s, and these 1099s only work for that company all year long, so the state's saying, well, wait a minute, this is an employee relationship, not an independent contractor relationship, because their paychecks for 52 weeks came solely from one other contractor.
She was paid this.
That's true too, especially when you're looking at 3 or over 3 years, a contractor over 3 years. That's highly unusual.
We did research this last year, and if you look on the website for independent contractors, as you know, there is a list of things that you can't do. You know, is the chief directing, or, you know, are we, you know, there's a whole list, and if you hit one of those that we are doing, we aren't an independent contractor anymore, as long as we follow the guidelines.
The other thing that I'd be more comfortable with is if in it, and that we added a number 6, that this MOA shall terminate 1 year from effective date as outlined in section 1. This MOA may terminate prior to 1 year from effective date at the option of non-materially breaching party. In the event of material breach of the terms of the MOA, the non-breaching party shall give the other party 30 days written notice, an opportunity to cure or otherwise agreed by the parties with the affirmative vote of 4 members of the governing body. I think both parties need the opportunity, if something's wrong with the contract, to break it. And that is not in here. It wasn't in the first one, it isn't in this one. I'm concerned that something may happen and we'd be obligated for $700 a month for 3 years.
She's an independent contractor. She's not an employee. she's an employee, and there's a reason for termination, depending on what it is, then she might or might not get paid. But as an independent contractor, she could walk in 6 months from now and say, hey, I've got this other job that's paying better, and I'm gonna take it. Okay, bye. That's the beauty of being an independent contractor. Just like Dave said, I don't have to, if I've got a vacation that week, I'm not available. So, and if something did happen and say she did violate the law on release of information, then the chief can say you're out the door. And there's no having to come to anybody or anything because she is an independent contractor. If we make her an employee, then yes, she has rights under the Wrongful Discharge Act, and she has wage protection rights and all those things you do not have as an independent contractor.
I'm not looking at an employee relationship, I'm looking at an independent contractor who's contracted on a yearly basis and has the option to leave. I mean, if we enter into a contract for 3 years, and maybe next year in the budgeting session, the police don't have $8,500 to pay that out. Maybe they have to put it on towards something else, and then we say, well, we have to break this contract. There's nothing in here that says that the city can break this contract for any reason.
And as I just explained, if the money's not there in the budget, then there is no contract. She can be told, sorry, we're not gonna have the funds available this year, you're an independent contractor, it's done.
And that's my understanding of the budgetary and layoffs, and I think that actually even applies to employees too. If you don't have the budget, that's understood and it's there.
I'd be much more comfortable with a 1-year contract.
Mayor, jumping ahead to the question I know you're gonna ask, hey, are we good moving forward with this? I will voice my 2 concerns. I would like to see a little bit more information behind the 3-year, some precedents. I want to be able to provide the chief with a resource that I've heard nothing but good about, and I understand how it makes his life easier. But also as we answer the voters, anything that's more than 1 year, there's part of me that would like her to be comfortable with 1 year, and we're gonna do it again next year, and next year, and next year, and providing there's money and no reason not to. You can stay on 1-year renewals for an entire career.
Exactly.
And then the second thing that I would like to see is I would like to have some sort of guidance that we would like to see a clarification of role, something that just helps clarify, that says, as my role as X or as my role as Y. My concern is, I don't ever want to have somebody think that she's acting in her role as the police chief admin when she's not. And that's not even necessarily something she can control. It's something that somebody's going to read into it. And therefore, I think that it's incumbent on us to clarify, in my role as police admin, or in my role not as police admin. And I don't think you say that.
So can I
say?
correct, she is not a police admin, she's an administrative assistant. There's a difference between admin and administrative assistant.
I apologize, but you know what I'm saying as far as, I want to make sure that we have something in there to avoid the confusion that somebody thinks they're getting a letter from the administrative assistant for the Red Lodge Police when it may have nothing to do with it. And I don't know what that verbiage looks like, but just some sort of a clarification. That's probably the bigger concern.
I have to agree with Dave. When he talked about a conflict of interest earlier, he was kind of answered with if she was involved with a criminal element. I don't think that's the conflict we're looking at. We're looking at if she's working for an attorney who's working towards a lawsuit or somebody against the city, and then a settlement agreement arrives at one of the aldermen's lawyer's place, and it was originated from Diane Barris's computer. That appears to be a conflict of interest when it's an alderman, the mayor, and a resident who requested that. And it originated from Diane Barris's computer to the city attorney, and then was sent from the city attorney to the alderman's lawyer. I think that appears to be a conflict if she is a contractor with the RLPD.
And that's a
fair example, I guess, I'm thinking just in general, I want to avoid.
So I wanna avoid both of those things.
I think that, like I said, I wanna talk about her, like I said, her professionalism is absolutely outstanding. She does not discuss at all any of her other clients or their jobs, and that is what I like. And she has built trust in me at the Red Lodge Police Department because I know she doesn't talk about anything else outside of this job. And so with that, I wanna give you the utmost assurance that she is nothing but professional, does a great job and a service for the city of Red Lodge, and does it very inexpensively because she likes what she does. She feels like she's making a difference in our community, helping the police department, and it isn't all about the money. But for her, I think one of the things she expressed to me of having a longer contract is the fact of having the security of knowing I don't have to look for a job every year.
And just for again, I have no question about her professionalism at all. It's the example that I tried to articulate, and I apologize if I didn't do it successfully, is, like I said, the case where Joe Blow citizen is gonna get it, not know who it is, and ask something. So that has nothing to do with how she does her role.
Okay?
That's just them gonna receive and ask.
Can I ask you a question then? Mr. Rosebud? Who could do the job that you asked with, because you're talking about Di. Who could in this community do that job, independent contractor, and not have the concerns that you just voiced?
So the concern that I have, and I don't think it's fair to ask of her, is the only other way I can see doing it without some sort of a clarification is a person who this is all they did. So if she didn't work for anybody else, then there's never gonna be any confusion. If you got a letter from her, it's in her role as the administrative assistant.
So it will be very hard to find an employee who is willing to work 50 hours a month at $14 an hour, and that's all that they do.
Understood.
Right.
How many years has she been at this, up to this point?
If I could, I would defer to Lonnie. Do you know, I know that she was doing it before me. I started June 25th last year. Could I defer to my,
She's been here for at least 3 years, and if it wasn't for Di Barris, when I was acting chief and shorthanded, I can't tell you what a dismal mess it would have been. She kept us organized, she kept us on point, she got stuff done for the attorneys when they needed it, and not only just one attorney, but the county attorney's office and the numerous plethora of defense attorneys that need stuff from us for discovery. She's been here for a long time, and there's not been one single incident of any kind of problem. We send stuff out to be transcribed to somebody on the other side of the state, and they're a private contractor, they do the same type of work. They're privy to all kinds of information in a digital format, and they're bonded, and same thing, they're gone through by CJIN, and it's the same type of relationship, and they are not an employee.
thank you, Scott.
I think it would be crazy not to keep her.
Yes, sir.
And it sounded like if the 3-year contract didn't work out, if for lack of money or whatever, something could, like you said, and what's the risk there? You know, it's like, take care of people like that.
Right. She's got knowledge that would take me, years to train someone else to do that she does automatically. And so getting someone else, if I could find someone else for 50 hours a month at $14 an hour, to be as competent and to know the job and do it professionally and as fast as she can, I don't see happening. And I think, for me, speaking selfishly, I would hate to lose her.
I think,
We're
we've
not-
seen the concerns, I think, it's.
Not at all, it's, right now, the possible impacts is over the 1 year and the 3 year. That's it. Sounds like an outstanding city employee, you're very fond of.
City contractor.
City
Contractor.
contractor.
And
Which is gonna take me to my next point. I have also been a 1099, and I have never, my level of security is based upon the previous day's performance. So, a 3-year level of security, you're only gonna get that in the government realm, not in the private sector.
Correct.
But to me, if she's as good as she says she is, I mean, I just would think her yearly contract would actually roll over.
And again, this is her contract, I can't speak to it, but I don't know that she would be opposed to it. I think she's just looking for some security, but I think that, like you said, she wants to be here. There are,
I-
I've
we all
had
want to
insurance
use them.
agencies in this town offer her a whole lot more money, but she wants to work for us. Independent contractor, serving her community that she lives in.
That's my main concern, is the 3 years. I think it should be an annual contract, and then the other concern is the conflict. Just because there have been a couple incidents that have happened with people that sit at this table, and her name has been on it.
So could you tell me, since I'm not familiar, what conflicts has she done that would give you concern that she has done improprieties as an independent contractor?
I can't speak to, as an independent contractor for the city. I can speak to the conflict of interest that she works for an attorney in town who has sued me, who has sued my sister, and whose other client has threatened to sue the city. A settlement agreement came from Diane Barrett to the city attorney, to Diane Dimich's lawyer.
If I could I redirect the question? I heard an answer, but I didn't hear the answer to my question. My question is, what improprieties in those 3 years, in the lawsuits that you've talked that come from her computer, has she violated or done anything inappropriate to the city or for that attorney or for you
It
guys?
certainly appears that way.
I don't think, even as I listened to you describe that, I don't, and this is where my concern came from, Chief, is she didn't do anything wrong. To be fair, I don't think she did anything wrong. But what she does not control, or anybody here control, is how it's perceived when it's received. And so that's my concern is, we all deal with things every day that we can't control the other side of it. And so we mitigate that to an extent by controlling the things that we can do. And that was why I was thinking if there could be a clarification just in a role, and maybe we only do, just a conversation, please take whatever actions are necessary to make sure somebody doesn't confuse and think you're acting in your role as an administrative assistant when you are not. And that's the only way I can think of it.
I guess from the computer and from what Mary said, is she was very clear that it came from the attorney and not from my office.
Well, then maybe we need to have a thing that says that she
Yes,
must step away
Becky.
from those things.
In experience with Diane, what I see is when she does police, anything that comes from the police department is on police letterhead. If she emails, I think she probably uses the same email address, and that can be simply rectified by, she uses Gmail. Gmail's free, is for her to do a new Gmail that would just be, for, making it indicated as coming from the police department, and only use her personal email for work outside of the city. We don't want to do a city email address, because that's gonna make it look like she's an employee, so she could set up a new Gmail, like Diane, or administrative assistant at gmail.com, something that would differentiate which role she is
I
playing.
can testify that I was with her when she set up that email, and it does not say Di Barris Administrative Assistant, it says, Administrative Assistant with everything that she puts out is on my letterhead, and it does say City Village Administrative Assistant. So she has taken the precautions to make sure that if she does police business, it is done with the knowledge that it come on my letterhead, or police department letterhead, and it also with the email address, to make it very clear, it doesn't even have her name on it.
When the question was asked, how long has she been here, I was gonna say 3.5 years, so thank you, Scott, for confirming what I already believed, yeah, and she's proven her worth time after time.
Yes, she has. You missed greatly if we didn't employ her.
I think we know what we need to address. And, not on the work session. That's what comes up next. Any comment from the public on this? Yes, Tim.
Tim Weimer, Red Lodge. I'd just like to say I've served with Diane Barris on boards, and everything they're saying about her is absolutely true. I can't imagine anybody better in that sort of a situation, and I understand some people having a feeling of other people that she works for and not necessarily liking them. I can appreciate that. But what I know of Diane is she absolutely positively acts with everything professional that the chief has said. I served on a board where I didn't have to do almost anything except for approve all the wonderful work that she did. And took Remington Ranch through a very trying time. And so it is, the type of work that she was doing, it is worth mentioning. She is that good. Thank you.
Any other comments from the public? Look forward to the budget update. We just finished claims, right? The last claims.
Yes.
And we'll have a really good idea where we're sitting at with what's left over from last year. Yep. So, I'll give you an update during the council meeting on the dates of the budget meeting that we're gonna have. Yes.
Do you have a date of when we'll get those final expenditures? Before the end of the month?
Any other comment on that on the table? Must be later.
Is that gonna include like resort tax?
The
and
auditor.
all?
I mean, the time,
You know, also have this choice too. We can get it independently.
The suspense is killing me.
I know it
Sorry,
is.
I'll
I know.
wait
Let's
till
talk about
after.
Board of Adjustments. As we had the explanation from James, and, he was talking about zoning setbacks, that type of thing, with Board of Adjustments. And I sent an email to Dan Clark, getting the clarification on how they do it in other cities, and I'm waiting for a response on that. He's been out of the country, came back on July 1st, so I'm sure he's back, but, we'll move forward with that as soon as I get his determination on that.
I also reached out to Kelly Lynch, land use attorney for Montana Lake cities and towns. I have not heard back from her either. I reached out to her early last week.
My understanding / recollection is you had some recommendations about what we needed to do to solidify it, as far as what roles would be, and then combined with, I think the issue that is pressing as most timely, I think, is no longer, so.
Right, and that's why I think reaching out to Kelly Lynch and Dan Clark and getting the info and, moving forward with setting that board up for what we need to do here and do it right.
Get a process in
Get a
place,
process in place.
because there will be others.
I'm sure.
But that's you who's gonna prepare that basically for us to sign off on and approve, correct?
Well, yeah, there has been a board in place in the past with bylaws, but it no longer appears that is in the city ordinance. So I think that's one thing we'll making sure it's applicable.
Mayor, is that something that we work with?
Let us-
Is it on the board?
Well, it
just for
kind
when
of
we
falls
get
into
there.
planning. Let's get our, we can get our information in and James and I will kick it out. Thank you for volunteering for that. And then we'll move from there.
We'll ultimately have to have somebody bring it forward or something.
Right, right. Anything else from the table? Anything from the public on Board of Adjustments? That time, anything from the public? On anything? I say we probably close this down, take a breather, and move to the council. Everybody good with that? Okay. Take about a 14-minute break and we'll start with council meeting.